everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies, featuring the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge official Black Spire Outpost cookbook. After Yop Shrimp Noodle Salad last week didn't end up being a hit, we're going to make the dessert recipe to close out this month's Mystical Munchies, Kowakian Crumb Cake. First up, let's go ahead and tell the story. There's only one thing that can mess up a kitchen worse than a homicidal droid, a Kowakian monkey lizard. If one of those little monsters gets loose in your galley, not only will it ravage your prep area, it'll laugh in your face the entire time. For some reason, a bunch of the pirates who frequented Maz's castle kept those blasted things as pets. When they got off their leashes, which they always did, chaos was sure to follow. Luckily, during one particular devastating rampage, I discovered that Kowakians are drawn to the blend of spices in my crumb cake. Or maybe it was the berry swirl. I don't know. All that matters is that I was able to trap one of these tiny terrors under a soup pot when it stopped to gobble up an entire cake. When I'm not using this classic confection as monkey lizard bait, it does a fine job luring in less destructive diners. Well, we're going to see what that's all about today. As usual, the ingredients are waiting for us over at the table, so let's head in that general direction. Looking at our spread of ingredients, we've actually got a rare three-part recipe, but some of the parts are going to overlap. So first we're going to need to make the topping, and in order to make the topping, I'll bring that a little bit closer so I can somewhat read it. We're going to need granulated sugar, brown sugar, ground cinnamon, as I knock over some of the measuring cups, ground ginger, a stick of butter that we're going to have to melt down, plus we need a little more for greasing, which is what this is for. Burgundy gel food coloring, we're going to use brown and all-purpose flour. To make the cake itself, we're going to need more butter that we're going to be softening, granulated sugar again, an egg, which are in the fridge, those will come out when I'm ready for them, vanilla extract, which is hiding back here, baking soda and baking salt, more all-purpose flour, and some fresh blueberries. And then to make the icing, we're actually going to need powdered sugar for that. Where are we? Some orange extract, I used lemon last week, and some heavy cream. So with that, let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. I'm going to start the oven preheating to 325 now, because I don't know how long it's going to take to preheat the oven. Anywho, we're going to make the topping first, so we're going to start by combining the sugars. So we've got the granulated sugar, which we need 1/3 cup of that. And that will move over toward the... Yep, I need this for the cake itself, so we'll move that to that group of ingredients. Then we need the brown sugar, another 1/3 cup of that. Make sure the butter stays somewhat flowy. A 1/3 cup of brown sugar going in. This can go back up since I'm almost certain I'm done with it. Let me just double check the recipe. I am done with it. So yeah, that can go back up. Preferably with an airtight seal. Come on. Okay, that's out of the way. Then we need a teaspoon of cinnamon, which is right here. So there's our cinnamon. Teaspoon of that. I don't think I need the cinnamon anywhere else, so that can go back up. I also don't... I I do need the teaspoon for the vanilla extract, so I'll have to try to rinse this off as best I can. Okay, we'll give that a quick wipe down. That can go back toward the cake for the vanilla extract later in the recipe. Half a teaspoon of ginger. So I've got the ground ginger right here. Once again, a rather generous half a teaspoon, and I don't think I need the half a teaspoon for anything else. I do not. I also don't need the ginger for anything else, so that can go back up. Then we'll take our melted stick of butter, dump that in. And last for this part, we need the Burgundy gel food coloring, which is right here. Looks like we just dump this whole thing in. Oh boy. Well, we'll use that to try to break up the clump of brown sugar we've got in the pan. Okay, I think that's probably as much of that as I'm going to get out. We'll combine that. Okay, that looks like a good place to start. So now we'll bring in the flour, and we want 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. So I've got my flour right here, 1 1/4. With the 1/4 cup, I need 5 of these. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then that's going back toward the cake because I know I need that when we go to make the actual cake. Then we're going to mix this up until we have a consistency like breadcrumbs. We'll just go ahead and give that a mix. Without jarring the camera, preferably. Okay. All right, mixing over the top. I'm going to come over to the side here because I'm trying to mix over top of the camera is putting my arm at an awkward angle and kind of making it bug me a little bit. All right, but I think we're getting to about the consistency on the crumbs that we want. That's actually starting to look pretty good, so I will move that out of the way so it can cool, and then we'll bring in another... Actually, next we'll bring in the pan so we can do a little bit of work with that. Next we're going to get the pan ready. They say to use an 8-inch square pan. I've got a 9x9 right here. So we're going to start by lightly buttering it. So we've got the rest of the stick of butter that we're... from what we're going to soften for the cake mix. Okay, the oven's up to temperature, so once we get done making the cake, we should be able to just put it right in the oven. Okay. Alright, looks like that is pretty well buttered. So we'll go ahead and pitch that. I'll give my hands a quick wash before we go ahead and line that. Before I grab the parchment paper so we can go ahead and line this. That's probably more parchment paper than I'll need for this job, but make me feel a little better about it all. So they butter it and then line it with parchment paper. I wonder why, but maybe so it adheres a little better? That's my best guess from the look of it. Okay. Excuse me, still having a little bit of a coughing fit, but we can go ahead and get the pan out of the way, and then we'll bring in a large bowl so we can start making the cake proper. We've got our large bowl ready to go, so into it we're going to dump our 6 tablespoons of butter that we've softened. It ended up being a little more melted, but can't help that in the microwave. Half a cup of granulated sugar, which is just plain white sugar. See if we can get in a little deeper. There we go. That can go back up now. All right, we want an egg as well. Which, here's our egg. I'm going to crack this right-handed over the side because I don't trust myself trying to crack it lefty. There we go. We got no shell in there, so we're good there. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract, which we've used before on Mystical Munchies. So here's our vanilla extract. We'll pour in. That's a little more than a teaspoon, but we'll work with it. And then that can go up. And then now we want to beat that until it's smooth. A hand mixer might be overkill, but we'll go with it. Then again, it sure seems like just what the doctor ordered to me. So we'll get the beater bars out and put those over to be in the dishes to be washed. Alright, so now that those are smooth, now we're going to add the buttermilk in. So we need half a cup of that, which I think I put the half cup, that's a third. What did I do with the half cups back here? Alright, so got the buttermilk right here. We need half a cup of that. Once again, I'm going to move over to the side. Okay. So we've got that out of the way. This can also go in the fridge. See, then the baking soda and the salt, and that is 1/4 teaspoon of each. So we'll add in the baking soda. and the salt. Okay. Those can move over there as well. Also up since we're done with them. Then we want to add the flour, which is another 1.5 cups of flour. Which I've got the, I think I've got, oh, this is my 1.5 cup measuring cup. Right here. So I'm going to pour this in, once again, over to the right. Oh, to be careful with that lid. Whoa! Alright, that'll work. I'll wash my hands off real quick, but now we want to combine all of this together until we have a thick batter. Which means I'll need another wooden spoon for that. Alright, I need another. Here we are. We want this to be a thick batter at this point. I'm actually going to get the hand mixer out of the way. Okay, we'll go ahead and mix this up. Again, the goal we want here is a thick batter. So as I start encountering more and more resistance, that's where I'm going to want to be. I am definitely encountering resistance, so that is probably where I want to be. Okay, yeah. Now I think now we're where we want to be on the batter. So now we're gonna stir the blueberries into the pan. I'm just gonna take this whole thing of blueberries and dump it in. It's probably a little more than 1 cup, but oh well. It's a dry pint, which I don't know what all the conversions are for all those measurements, but we'll stir that in. Okay. All right, the blueberries are stirred in, so now we're going to go grab the pan once again so we can transfer the batter to it. There's the pan, and this is going to be a little bit of a weird angle, but I think I can work with it. So now we're going to transfer the batter to the pan. I'm going to grab a spatula here, which is thankfully right here. See if we can get more of this batter out. Okay. Okay, I think that's as much of the batter as we're going to get. So let's see what I can do about spreading this out over the parchment paper a little bit. Okay. See if we can take this down over here. Yep, I think we can with that, which means that can move into the dishes as well. Then we're going to transfer the crumbs on top of this. We'll go grab our crumble mixture and we'll sprinkle that on top. Whoa, it's coming out in clumps, but I don't think I can help that. We'll just spread it out a little bit. Okay. So now we can get that out of the way. And with that in, we're going to bake for about 35 minutes until a toothpick inserted in the middle comes out clean. So let's put that in the oven. I'll set the timer on here for... I'm setting the timer on the oven for 35 minutes, so we'll come back into here when the timer goes off. But rather than sit idle during that time, I just got something in from Amazon, so what say we adjourn to the game room for an impromptu product unboxing. I just got this box in from Amazon earlier this afternoon, right before my second workout this afternoon. And while we're waiting for the cake, while we started the cake baking, we'll go ahead and take a look, see what's in here. So this should be something I'm going to need for one of my videos coming up that I may be putting on the channel this weekend. Right, slice, there we go. We find that. And okay, cool. Ooh. Okay, so it's actually a toy wrestling ring. I'll go ahead and slice this box down. But I know what you're thinking right now. Phoenix Knight, what could you possibly need a toy ring for? If you remember back in March, I believe it was, when I played Title Bout 2 for the very first time, I talked at this point about investing in a toy ring to help me with theater of the mind. So at the time I was using one of my Imperial Assault boxes. I'll probably still use that for storage purposes, but this should help me a little bit more with theater of the mind. Spring-loaded mat, but I'm not particularly interested in that. So we'll go ahead and get this open. We should also have a set of ropes in here. I'm hoping we do. We'll go ahead and tear that. Okay, looks like, okay, yep, looks like everything else we need is, there are the turnbuckles. Turnbuckles along with the ropes. So, yeah, we'll be able to string the ropes together. And then we should have all of our various stickers if I can ever get the blasted things out. There we go. So we've got our apron skirts, none of which I'm probably going to use, just because I mostly need this more for the box, mostly because I just need this more for the ring frame of reference. If anything, what I might find a little more practical is maybe finding an image of the mat, of the representation of the locations in the ring, and maybe gluing or taping that down to this ring, so I have that to help me keep everything more secure with the frame of reference of where everything is. But we're still waiting for the cake to bake, so we're going to sit tight, and when we come back, the cake will be ready. Well, the cake should be ready. The timer on the cake just went off, so we're going to see if the toothpick comes out clean when I insert it. Stick it in the middle. It does not come out clean. That's a problem. Well, I wonder if that's because of the crumbs. Let me find a portion that doesn't have crumbs on it. It does come out clean when I put it in a part that doesn't have crumbs in it. So now we're going to let that cool completely. We'll come back a little bit later when it's time to make the icing. So the cake is most of the way cool now. We'll go ahead and make the icing though. So I'm going to go ahead and slice the powdered sugar open. There's that. The top of that can go in the garbage. We'll need half a cup of that. It's a moderately generous half a cup, but I think we can work with it. Dump that in. Then we want a dash of the orange extract, if I can ever get it open. There's that. Uncover that. Come on. Oh, for the love of... There we go. Finally got that open. Doesn't help to have no fingernails. Dash of that. That's probably a little more than a dash, but we'll work with it. I'll get that covered and about a shot. That's the powdered sugar I'm covering up, by the way. And we'll start with a tablespoon of the heavy cream. Mostly what I'm looking for out of this part is a thick, runny consistency, something that I can ultimately drizzle over top of the cake. I can bump this up to two tablespoons if I need to. So one. We'll see how that goes once I get the lid back on. Alright, let's go ahead and give this a stir. Whoop. Preferably without knocking it all over. Wait, with half a cup of powdered sugar? That seems like I'm going to need a lot more heavy cream than that to get to what I'm looking for the icing. All right, adding another tablespoon. We'll see if this makes it any better. Okay, it's getting a little more liquidy as I mix it up. It still feels a little bit on the thick side for comfort. I'd like it to be a little bit more runny. But I think we're actually making progress here. Yeah, I feel like this is just going to come out in a clump if I start to try to drizzle this on the cake. Let's see how it looks. That's actually probably about where I want it to be. Let's see how it comes out when I start to drizzle it over the cake. So we'll bring the cake back into shot. Maybe still a little. No, actually, I think this is probably about where I want to be. So, given how slow this is moving, I'm actually going to turn the camera off to drizzle this on, and then when I'm done, we'll be back at the table for the taste test. said I was moving over to the table. That's probably a dead giveaway that I'm not alone. Once again, I've got my gaming group with me to weigh in with the dessert. In case you remember, we've got Ethan, Drew, and Kevin. And we've got the cake here in front of us. So, gentlemen, go ahead. I definitely like the consistency just looking at this. At least the bottom part.
That's pretty good.
I think mine's all crumbled.
No, you got a little bit of cake in there. I tried to make sure you had some in there.
Yeah, it's really good. That's pretty good. Cake's got a good consistency. Crumble's crunchy. Icing is, sweet.
Well, I think so. I think that's the powdered sugar, a combination of the powdered sugar and the orange extract.
The orange extract you can really taste, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, the recipe does call for a dash of the orange extract, so that's probably why it's not overwhelming.
It's really good.
Very good.
Thank you. So that will do it for this episode of Mystical Munchies, and that will bring another month in Mystical Munchies to a close. Next week, we'll be in a new cookbook, but I'll detail more of that in the end of May recap. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.